Oh, gee, Funky Boxing. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Hit the like button, hit the notification bell. Oh, yeah. We're going early today, guys. Found some time and we're going to go early. We're going to talk about this, man, but there's a lot to cover after in the aftermath of this fight. More than I actually thought there would be. But let's talk about it real quick, okay? Let's talk about it real quick, guys. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna go solo screen like this real quick because I'm gonna open up the phone lines after I give my opinion. But where do I start? Where do I start? Okay, let's start with this young Asian kid who apparently injured Ryan Garcia in sparring. What's going on to Team Batman and Andres Rodriguez in the chat? Let's start off with this kid who supposedly injured Ryan Garcia in camp. Uh I hate to say this, but I think he probably committed career suicide. Round one in the chat. And do me a favor, guys. If you have a wrench and you're watching, please remove all trolls and remove all, you know, sensitive comments because I have a feeling there's going to be some drakes in the chat tonight. They're going to be in their feelings. All right. So just do me that favor. All right. Take care of that for me. And I appreciate that. But yeah, I think this kid, and I'm not like I said, I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce the kid's name. But I think he just committed career suicide, man, to be quite honest with you. And that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because nobody knows who this kid is. And they brought him in to do a job, and then he goes and spills the beans about, injuring Ryan and things like that. Now, about the whole mole situation. Now he says he doesn't know what that is or whatnot. Is he the mole that was in Ryan's camp? I mean, who knows, man, at this point. I really don't know. But I mean, this sucks, man, for that young kid. You know? I have a feeling that no one's gonna want to work with him. No one's gonna want him in their camp because of all the shit that he's coming out and saying, man. And honestly I don't know if this kid really knows what the hell he's doing at this point. I have to be honest with you. I really don't know if he knows what he's doing at this point. If he realizes, that this could damage him in the future. What's going on, Bruce Gas? Check my guy out, Bruce Gas, if you get a chance. Um, yeah, it's just like one video after another, and somebody who's in his camp really needs to tell him, just look, man, just no more videos, okay? Let's just try to let this blow over if we can. But I have a feeling that from here on out, unless he becomes the world champion, he's going to be known as that guy that supposedly injured Ryan Garcia in camp and then started making videos after. Like, I mean, it's just a bad look, man. And I do feel sorry for the kid. I have a feeling that people aren't going to want to pay him to come in and do sparring and see that's the problem that I had with a lot of these guys that were doing these sparring videos all the time, releasing uh videos of sparring sessions and then using that to create narratives. This is what happens, man. I mean, if a gym is gonna let you film sparring sessions, then just film it and shut the fuck up, film it, and if you want to release it on your channel, release it on the channel. But these guys, a lot of these channels made a killing off of doing these sparring video things, and fans go wild with it, man. Now they think that they're real fights, And believe me, I was seeing a lot of casuals this week saying things like, I'm picking this guy because, did you see the sparring session or did you hear about this? Like, sparring now is how you determine who wins a fight. Like, I hate to sound like this, but this is how I know a lot of you guys haven't been in the gym and know how it works. Like, things that you see going on in a sparring session, it's not a real fight. Could be one fighter working on one thing, like with another. Like, it, there's many different things that could be going on nowadays. What happens is sparring goes to the yep. It's ridiculous, man. And then when you go and release these kind of videos like this young kid is doing, man, he fucked up, man. I'm just gonna flat out say it. He fucked up. But let's move on to the next thing. All right, guys, get your tinfoil hats ready. Okay, there's a conspiracy theory that's out there. Okay, people are claiming that when Bernard Hopkins put his hand on Gervonta Davis's back at the weigh-in, when all he was trying to do was warn him that he might fall off the edge of the stage, right? You could clearly see him say that. Now, Tank got pissed off and his team got pissed off, and I'm seeing some fans with some of the craziest things to say about this, man. The conspiracy theory is that Hopkins had testosterone cream on his hands and rubbed it on Tank Davis so that Tank Davis could pop dirty after the fight. I mean, can you believe this stuff, man? It is ridiculous, man. What's going on, Puerto Rican rum? Andre says, "Oh my goodness, don't even get me started on the dude that said he put steroid cream on him." Yeah, yes, exactly, Andre. Yes, I mean, whew. I didn't know if these guys could come up with anything goofier than Glovegate, but this is one of them. Puro Sur, what's up? But yeah, that's the theory. Hopkins put testosterone cream on Tank Davis at the weigh-in. So if he pops dirty, man, it's Hopkins that did it, you know? I mean, as far as I know, they were both being tested. So look, we'll wait and see. But Jesus, boxing fans can be so goofy at times, man. And this is the type of stuff that happens when you have fanboy fighters like Tank Davis. He's a fanboy fighter, all right? He's a fanboy fighter because a lot of his fans are fanboys. They're not real fans of boxing. They don't follow the sport. They follow Davis. And they're just so overprotective of the guy. Like he's their kid, you know? Oh my god, I can't believe Hopkins just did that. Hopkins should know better than that. Put his hands on him like that. Like, oh man, just watch the tape. He was telling him that he could fall off the edge of the freaking stage, man. There was no malicious intent. All right. Silly stuff, man. But before I talk about is Tank the new face of boxing, one more thing. A video just dropped about an hour or so before I came on here to talk with you guys. Oscar De La Hoya answers the question as to why he wasn't at the post-fight press conference Saturday night. Now, I want to give a shout out to Coach Malachi Williams at True Media, USA Today Boxing. He had Rick Glazer on, and I'm going to try to get Rick on as well, see what his source has to say about the pay-per-view numbers. But he was asked about why Oscar didn't show up. What's going on, Mark Nash? He was asked by a caller why De La Hoya and Hopkins weren't there. Now, he said that Rick Glazer said that they had a business meeting and reservations for dinner, right? At this, so basically the dinner was a business meeting, and they had to be there, and he couldn't be two places at once. Eric Gomez, who's the president of Golden Boy, was present at the post-fight press conference. That's what Rick Glazer says he knows, right? Oscar came out and said that he wasn't allowed to be there. Well, I wouldn't say it wasn't allowed, but him and Hopkins chose not to be there because their security were telling him that he was threatened. Yeah, that's right. They were banned from there because they had received death threats from, I guess, Tank Davis fans. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, again, a lot of shit happened, man, over the last couple of days after this fight. Yeah, it's crazy. You believe Oscar? I mean, look, I'm sure. I mean, remember Tim Bradley got death threats after he beat Pacquiao in the first fight. So it doesn't surprise me. Um, do I know for sure though? No, I don't know for sure. But yeah, just weird what has happened, what has unfolded since this fight has ended, guys. Um, again, people accusing Garcia of taking a dive and that he quit. Like it's crazy, man. You guys have already heard my post fight thoughts on it. I dropped a video on it. Don't really want to go over that in this live here. I want to talk about um the question and the question that's in the title of the video. What's going on, Dre's Finest? How you doing? Um, is Gervonta Tank Davis the new face of boxing? Death threats, tainted blood work. This is like a bad novella. You're right, man. You're absolutely right. Hilarious though, but I'm gonna give my opinion and then I'm gonna open up the phone lines for you guys if anybody that wants to call in. All right. Let's see. I mean, he co-promoted the fight. Doubt he'd be banned, but what I do not know. Yeah. I mean, it's a weird situation, man. But here's what I'm gonna say right now. Again, if you're in the chat and you have a wrench, please. I see right now I only got 5 likes and there's 19 people watching. So if you're not a hate watcher, I want you guys to hit the like button for me right now. Okay. I know I have a lot of hate watchers out there, right? They're just waiting for me to say something, you know, and they're going to get sensitive. So if you have a wrench, please block any sensitive, emotional comments that come with what I'm going to say right now. Because I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to like what I'm going to say right now. Okay. But to answer the question that I have in the title, is Gervonta Tank Davis the new face of boxing? Currently, I say no. Currently, it's a no for me. But I'll say this. Well, actually, before I go into that, I'm going to say I still believe that Canelo Alvarez is still the face of boxing. That's what I say, right? Let's see here. How about the fake news reporter from several fanboy sites that everyone was ditching Ryan Garcia upon his first loss? Yeah, I just talked about that briefly, Joe. Subscribe to my guy right here, this channel, War Week Radio. Good show. Check him out, Iceman. Checkmate is here. What's up, Checkmate? I'm going to get into some comments here in a minute. I just want to give my opinion, and I'm going to open up the phone lines for anybody who wants to call. But currently, like I said, I'm going to say no, he's not the face of boxing currently. I'm still going to give that to Canelo. And here's why I'm going to give it to Canelo still. Because based on what he does, right, what he decides to do after this Ryder fight will determine a lot of other shit. And that, to me, that tells me that he still is the guy in the sport, right? Now, let me explain what I mean by that. The Ryder fight is going to be in a couple weeks. After that fight, he is a free agent, right? He has an option to rematch Bivol again if he wants to do that. And we'll see, right? But I'm going to go over the two scenarios that could possibly happen with Canelo, right? If Canelo decides to re-up with DAZN, then the Gervonta Davis being the new face of boxing, it has life, right? He's right on the borderline if that's the case. Because I'm just gonna say this. I haven't heard anything reported yet from any numbers, but I do think that this fight Saturday night is gonna do a lot of pay-per-views, man. I think it's gonna do. I predicted before the fight that it would do from like around 400 to 500,000 pay-per-view buys. I've been seeing a lot of talk about it, man. And look, this is just from my experience. Anybody else can speak differently, and that's fine, But when I see this kind of casual interest for a fight, the way that I was seeing in the build up and then especially on fight night, I think it's gonna do well, man. I think I'm gonna be wrong on what I said it's gonna do, my projection, and I think it's gonna do anywhere from 7 to 8. That's what I think. 700 to 800,000, I think it could do. Um, and those are great numbers for today. Those are great numbers. And I'm gonna say this right now. You guys might disagree with me, but I'm gonna say this right now. I think this pay-per-view is gonna blow out the Ryder pay-per-view because nobody wants to see Canelo versus Ryder, man, especially on pay-per-view. You're asking people to pay extra money, the zone subscribers to pay extra $60 to see him fight Ryder. Like, it's this pay-per-view has potential to be the biggest pay-per-view of the year. And again, it's all based on what Canelo does, right? I think it's going to outdo the Ryder pay-per-view. If he decides to rematch Bivol in the fall, I think it outdoes that fight too. Then there's a legit argument that Tank could be the new face of boxing. Now, I want to give Ryan Garcia some credit here. If it does do well, Ryan gets credit as well because Tank has been around the 200 to 250K mark with his pay-per-views, right? So I think it's going to do over that. And again, we got to give some credit to Ryan for that. You need a dance partner. That's why I'm saying that the Canelo fights with Bivol potentially in the fall and with Ryder, again, those are not big names. Nobody knows those guys. You got to have a dance partner. Same thing with Floyd Mayweather, right? Let's just go off of his biggest pay-per-views, right? Oscar De La Hoya, right? That broke the record winning that. But again, Oscar was already a big star. Floyd fought Canelo, right? Very popular fighter. That did great. 2 million buys, I believe. Manny Pacquiao, big pay-per-view star. That thing did 4 million. So you got to have a dance partner. So Ryan gets some credit here as well. We'll see what they do with Ryan from here on out. But I think, right? And again, this is just all me just guessing, right? I think it's going to do anywhere from 700 to 800K as far as pay-per-view sales. And I think it outdoes Canelo versus Ryder. And I think it outdoes Canelo versus Bivol. The only way Canelo can beat this pay-per-view that I think is going to do well is if he decides to fight David El Bandera Roja Benavidez in the fall. I think that's $1 million pay-per-view. I think that's 1 million buys. Excuse me, not dollar, but 1 million buys right there. I do believe that. To me, that's the only fight that could happen this year, potentially, that can outdo Tank versus Ryan. Now, if Spence and Crawford gets announced, there's a chance there as well that fight could do better than Canelo versus Ryder. We'll see. We'll see if that fight gets made. But currently, he could make a case because again, if I don't think the Bivol pay-per-view is going to do well. I think there's a lot of Canelo fans that know he can't beat him. There's some that believe he can beat him, but again, Bivol is not a hot name. Ryder, nobody knows who the fuck this guy is here, except for a hardcores, man. That's it. So, yes, if it all depends, this is why I'm still giving it to Canelo because it all depends on what he's gonna do. If he goes Ryder, Bivol, Tank, and Ryan will outperform both of them. But if Canelo goes and fights Benavidez in the fall, that tops everything. That pay-per-view will be the biggest of the year, in my opinion. That's all I got, guys. That's my piece on it. So let's go ahead and open up the lines, man. I'm going to read some comments in the meantime. You guys call in. Let me know what you think about this discussion. I say what's up to Checkmate. Thanks for being here, bro. Appreciate it. Let's see. Puro says face of the sport. No, in my opinion, but definitely the face of American boxing. Yeah, you can make that case. Although I think still we could give it to Crawford. I mean, not Crawford, but Spence as far as like pay per view buys. But we'll see, man. I think this is going to do well, though. Tank ain't the new face of boxing, not yet at least. He can do big numbers by himself like Canelo does. Then we could have that conversation. Yeah, that's why I'm giving it to Canelo. I still think he holds, more weight, much more weight at this point. But he could be outperformed, man, this year. There's potential that he can be outperformed by these two young fighters that just fought on Saturday, depending on who he fights in the fall. This fight is gonna blow out the Ryder fight, man. It's gonna blow it out, man. It just is. DJ Mexicano de Tejas. Tank is a good fighter, but I don't think he's the face. Yeah, but I'll say this. I think that's a different conversation. You know, if people want to make him the face of boxing, that doesn't mean that he's the best fighter. It's just he's the most popular. But we'll see. Round one says Tank will just have some buzz until Canelo fights. But Canelo is the face of boxing. No, I agree. I agree 100%, man. Puerto Rico says Canelo versus Ryder has exactly no business on pay-per-view. That's a huge mistake, man. That is a huge mistake, in my opinion. What's going on, Fotex? Says Tank is the new face of boxing to the the LDBC. Well, I mean, look, they're gonna have a field day because this is gonna blow out Canelo's next pay-per-view, man. It just is. We just got to be honest, man. We just have to be honest about it. Dre's Finance says, I have to give Tank his props. He sells out wherever he goes. To me, that says a lot. No, he's a great ticket seller, man. Great ticket seller. Everywhere he goes, you see a big crowd. No doubt. Ryan helped out a lot with those pay-per-view numbers. He gets credit too. Andres says he agrees with me. Fotex, I think Benavidez and Canelo beat. Yep, I'm right there with you too. It beats it. What's going on, Coach Malachi? Good to see you here, bro. Appreciate you stopping by, man. Let's see. I think Canelo will fight Benavidez in May 2024. Oh, man. I don't know, man. I just think that if he goes to the zone and re-ups with the zone, that fight probably doesn't happen at all, man. Let's see. Does Fury versus Usyk do better? No, it doesn't. Usyk, nobody knows who that guy is here in the United States, man. Now, if you want to count the worldwide stuff, like some guys do, then you can make a case because Fury is big in the UK. But as far as the United States, no, I don't think so. Usyk is still unknown to this point, Absolutely, says Dre Finance. Let's see. Iceman says Tank is the new face on a Bud Light can holding his. Yeah, he's got to stop worrying. I don't want to give these guys a pass because I would never allow my son to do something like that. That's just me. I know today we're living in a weird time, but yeah, I'm not a fan of the purse. No. It's me. Pablo says, if Tank is the face of boxing, then who is A side going into the Devin Haney, the undisputed champ? They're gonna play the A side. That's why that fight's not gonna happen, Pablo. That fight will not happen. Haney doesn't move enough tickets for them to say. I mean, look, just remember what they said about Josh Taylor when he was the undisputed champion at 140 when Tank went up to 140 to fight Barrios, right? Oh, he brings nothing to the table. And the hardcore fans were like, hey, motherfucker's got all the belts, But they want to make money. That's what this is all about, guys. Why do you think this fight was made? They made a cross promotion because they knew it was going to sell out, and it did. Great crowd on hand. And I think it's probably going to do great on pay-per-view, man. I really do. Question is, will Benavidez get through Morrell? Well, that sounds like it's going to be potentially next, man. We'll see. Morrell showed out Saturday night, got a first-round knockout in sensational fashion. That's a hot fight too, and it's probably going to be on pay-per-view. But again, a lot of people don't know Morrell, and now I know he was on the undercard, the co-feature. Let's just hope that the casuals that were watching this fight Saturday weren't at the buffet table getting their drinks and their food while Morrell was fighting, and they saw what happened, and then they could be interested in a possible fight with Benavidez. We just don't know. Boxing Vitals, what's up, man? He says, no, Tank is not the face of boxing yet. Canelo is not gone yet. It took Ryan and his fan base to make the fight big. Now, I agree on you. I agree with you 100%. Appreciate that, my man. Appreciate that. Yeah, Ryan, again, you got to have a good dance partner. I think that's what we're really going to find out when these numbers come out. Because, again, he fought Leo Santa Cruz that did, the 200 range. And, there's reports that he only did 61,000 with Hector Luis Garcia in his last fight. Now, again, I don't know if these numbers are true or not. They never came out with the Isaac Cruz numbers, right? And these numbers were, we all know when they don't report them that they're not good. So he has to fight. He has to have a dance partner, man, just like anybody else. Okay. Same thing with Canelo. That Canelo's not, he's not an exception to that. This fight is going to blow out the Ryder pay-per-view, man. It's going to blow it out because nobody knows Ryder. Nobody knows him. Let's read some more comments. Again, guys, anybody wants to call in, the phone line is open. Hold on, let me make sure I got it. No one. Let me make sure. Yeah, we're ready. We're open, man. Anybody wants to call in? Morrell looking like a beast, absolutely. Boxing Vitals, I really don't think Yamaguchi is no. He he looked really old in there, man. I'm not gonna lie. But most people, again, most casuals, they won't care about that type of stuff. They just like knockouts, Round one says, do you think Morrell should fight Plant before he fights David? No. Beating Plant at this point really does nothing for him. No disrespect to Plant, but he's already been beat pretty badly by Benavidez and Canelo. So, no, I don't think so. I wouldn't mind the fight if it happens, but I think that Morrell's team wants that Benavidez fight next. I think Benavidez is okay with that. He said it several times. Samson has said that that's going to be the plan if the Canelo fight falls through. So potentially that could be the fight that happens in the fall. Shoeshine Boxing, what's up, man? Subscribe to my guy, Shoeshine. Let's see. Fotex says, all eyes on Canelo. If he doesn't clean sweep, the fan's going to look at his regression. I think he's going to look sensational against Ryder, man. I really do. I really, really do. First phone call coming in, guys. Give me a second. All right, 404, you're live.
What's poppin', homie?
Who we got on the line?
It's Mark Nash. What up, though?
Oh, what's going on, Mark Nash? How you doing, man?
I'm blessed, brother. How you feel?
I'm great, man. I'm glad to be on a little bit earlier than usual. The kids, they got to permit these things. So I got a chance to sneak one in early. But what's on your mind, bro?
Nothing. I just called to say what's up, man. Tell you keep doing your thing, man. Proud of you. Got a good show going on right now. Good topic. So I'm just proud of you, man. Keep it going. I just wanted to ask you a question. What's your take on the allegations that Noah Hopkins was putting steroids on him? And what do you think about them saying Ryan quit?
Well, the first one I'll say is just another ridiculous conspiracy theory from fanboys, man. Like he barely touched him, and for them to think that, oh yeah, he put testosterone cream on him, like that's insane. That's an insane take to me. You could clearly see that Hopkins was telling him watch the stage, because they were close to the edge.
Watch out for the edge.
Yeah. So silly, man. And as far as them saying Ryan quit, I don't think he quit. I think it was a good body shot right on the liver. Do I think it was the hardest shot? No. That's why I was saying that I think he's going to be leaking oil after 5-6 rounds. He said after the fight that he felt weak. That's the unfortunate thing when you put these kind of clauses on a fighter, man. They could always jump back on that and say, well, hey, I was tired. I was weak from having to do the rehydration thing. So, Tank fans are just going to have to live with that, man. They decided to go with it. Ryan signed the contract, so it is what it is, man. But what do you think, man? Do you think he quit?
I don't really know. I gotta watch it one more time, man. I need to see it one more time because I wasn't even aware of that angle people were taking with it till like last night, late last night, going into this morning. So I'm gonna do a quick little rewatch of the knockdown on everything happening around, and I'm trying to see how many other times the tank hit him in that spot. You know, because sometimes you know it might not be the first shot you get hit there. Like man, he actually hit him there 6 times. You know, 6 times the charm. So I want to see it one more time though before I make a final judgment. Oh, last thing on you. Oh, what you think about Oscar them not showing up for the post fight? Oscar said, "Hey, we had death threats and things like that." Bernard was banned. What's your take on that?
Yeah, that's a little odd, man. Not gonna lie, when I first seen it, um, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not surprised that fans would do something like that. Like I said, we've seen it before in the past. I don't know if you remember Tim Bradley when he beat Pacquiao the first time, received a lot of death
Yeah.
threats, and it affected him greatly after that. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case, and if they were taking like security precautions. Me personally, I would say, nah, fuck that. I'm gonna be there, but that's just me. Maybe Oscar and them didn't feel comfortable. I don't know. I know on Coach Malachi's show this afternoon, Rick Glazer said that Hopkins and De La Hoya had a dinner reservation for a business meeting, and because the fight was an hour late than it was supposed to be on, that they didn't have a choice but to be there because of business that they had to take care of. I don't know, man. It's definitely odd though to not see them there.
All right. Well, I ain't gonna hold you up on the line. I believe Oscar on that though. I'm gonna take Oscar for his word on that one. I have no reason for him to lie about getting death threats versus saying, "Hey, look, we had a very important business meeting, and the company," or because look, he didn't have to address it at all.
Yeah,
You know. Yeah.
that's
So
true.
yeah, I believe that that sounds more plausible than the dinner. But even on the flip side of that, the arena is empty at that point. When you
Right.
see the background where he is out, it's empty. It's cleared out. So they're gonna come in there and kill you right now, but not Ryan Garcia. Like, like, yeah,
Yeah.
so it's tricky right there because that arena is pretty empty. You guys got top level security. They're gonna kill you in that arena right there. They backstage. Like, who's? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
I
weird.
don't know. That's kind of odd.
Yeah, it's a
But all
weird
right, man. I
situation for sure,
appreciate your
man.
time. All right, thanks for taking my call, big dog, and I'll see you next time, man. If you got time, pull up on my show later.
Yeah, man. I usually try to, man, but these kids, man, they wipe me out, bro. So like by the time I sit down and
Yeah,
hang out with the wife, I'm like, I'm tired. And I end up falling asleep.
I
So
can respect it.
but I always
I
try
can.
to stop by and hit the like, man, when I can, brother.
All right, no problem, brother. Thank you for your time, man. Thanks for your energy. I'll see you in the next one. All right,
Absolutely, man. Thank you, Mark.
peace.
All right, guys. Mark Nash there. Let's give him a hand for the call. Calling in and giving his 2 cents on the topic. Let's read some more comments. Dre's fine. It says, I don't see Canelo fighting Benavidez. Canelo is still going to fight, uh, is going to fight a stiff competition he didn't know Bivol was. Ah, okay, I got you. Round one says, I would love to see Morel and David fight. I would just like to know how he fares against Plant in comparison. No, I mean, look, if they make it, they make it. Um, I just feel like David Morrell and his team, like they're ready for the big fights, not just like championship fights, but they want to obviously make some money. They want to be on pay per view. Personally, I don't think Plant is going to be on pay per view again after the last 2 times he was on and he got beat up brutally twice, knocked out in one. Um, so that's why I just don't see it happening. But hey, if it does happen, I'm cool with it. You know, I don't mind any of these fights happening. Personally, I mean, there's sometimes where I feel like rematches aren't necessary. Like, I don't personally feel like the Bivol rematch is necessary because he washed Canelo. If we're being quite honest, that fight wasn't close. So like, why do I need to see it again? You know, I don't need to see it again. Dre's Francis Morel needs more experience before stepping to Benavidez. Some would say that. Some would agree with you on that. They feel like they're ready. Um, we'll see, man. I'm all for it. I'm all for the fight. I think both are sensational, super middleweights, and I can't wait to see it if it happens, man. I think it's a good alternative to uh not having Canelo versus Benavidez in the fall. Boxing Vital says, no, Hopkins wouldn't do that. Plus, putting cream one time. Exactly. Exactly. Looked high for the liver. I haven't really watched it again, to be quite honest with you. I'll watch it again and see where the shot was. But it was a well placed shot, and again, Ryan's bad habits is really what made that possible. Another call coming in, guys. Give me a second.
Where the shot was. It was a
All
well-placed
right.
shot.
Checkmate Boxing, you're live. What's going on, man?
What's going on, my brother? Hey, first of all, it's an interesting fight. It kind of played out the way I said it would. And remember, when I was on your show, 99% of your your chat was saying I was wrong. Everything I said, they said I was wrong. Well, I proved to be right. You guys say Ryan was fast. Tank was faster. You guys say, Ryan height and strength and everything will play a point. I gave you the reasons why this Tank is on a different level. And I felt like Ryan is still developing and they're just not on the same level. Now, with that, translating into the new face of boxing, I say he is the new face of boxing. Because it's not something I vote on. It's not something we vote on. It's when we look across the spectrum, when we look and see who's supporting Tank, who's coming to his fights, who's talking about his fights, what they're saying on networks, and we know the media push a lot of propaganda. So whoever they choose they want to push, they're going to push. And if they feel all of a sudden the crowd is behind a particular guy, they're going to jump on that bandwagon because that's going to produce income for them. So whether people like it or not, they're saying Canelo this, Canelo that. But I mean, again, if Tank is selling out coast to coast, place to place, where no, he's fighting. Nobody knew really Raleigh, and he broke a record. He broke the Barclays record. Nobody knew Hector Garcia. He broke a Barclays record. Okay. So, and with this particular fight, and of course he broke a record in Baltimore because that's his hometown.
I was just going to say that's where he fought Hector Luis Garcia was in DC, right?
No, DC, yeah. That was So he broke records in Baltimore, DC, and New York. Okay, but with this particular fight, this is the fight you guys said y'all wanted. They said Ryan was the fourth king, part of the fourth kings. The Tank was part of the fourth kings.
Well, let me clarify that. I never asked for this fight. It was one of those things where, like, if it happens, it happens. But for me personally, I never wanted this fight. These guys, there's no belt on the line, and for me, that's more important as a fan, But it's a big fight, monetary wise, and I think it's going to do great in the sales, man. But it's a fight that I wasn't asking for. I know there was a lot of fans that were asking for it, but me personally, I wasn't.
Well, neither was I, because I just don't think Ryan is on that level. I just didn't think it would give me that. I always get big fight feels for Tank anyway, but I wanted to see versus Loma. I wanted to see Tank versus Haney. These are the two fights I felt should have came before Ryan.
Me too.
I said before, even when on your show, and I've been saying, forever. I was like, even when Tank beats Ryan, I think this will probably be Tank's fifth best win out of. Well, I'm being honest, right? I can't change my tune because of the win. I changed, you know what I mean? I have to be consistent. The consistency is that I felt like Ryan has potential. Ryan's potential has not been realized, and he's still developing. And because of that, I just don't think there were on, he was going to give Tank any trouble, and he didn't. People said, oh, even you told me, my brother, you were saying, hey, Tank has never faced a fighter as fast as Ryan, as quick as Ryan, as strong as Ryan. You told me all these things, and I would say, well, that's not true. And you told me to go down a list of boxers who I think were, faster, quicker, stronger, whatever the case may be. And you guys gave me heat about Riley. Riley, I said, listen, Riley's as strong as an ox. Riley looked like he was on that juice, but the bull, the guy is strong as the bull. And I said, there's no way that Ryan hits harder than Riley. Tank said Riley was the hardest, punch he's ever felt. He said it felt like bricks, but we saw, how that ended up. So with that said, I'm not disparaging Ryan. I'm just putting things in a proper perspective. So people say, you never heard me say he's a bum. No, I can't call him a bum because it's inconclusive right now because he's still developing. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I hear you.
If he was someone in his prime, I would like, oh, he's a bum, he's washed, whatever the case may be. But no, he's neither of that because I still think he can get better. I just think he will never be on Tank's level. So with the face of boxing thing, they're saying this fight was going to do over 1 million pay-per-views. Okay, so that's that, right?
We'll see.
But when you look at Canelo,
we should get some numbers here at the end of the week. If I'm anticipating some numbers to be released at the end of the week because I do think it's going to do well. I think it's going to do close to 1 million. I don't know over 1 million, but I think it's going to do close.
Okay, and this is the thing with the face of boxing. Okay, so this will be Canelo's fourth pay-per-view since joining the zone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this last, even the GGG, you saying earlier about he has to have a dance partner.
Yes.
GGG 3, they said it did around 500,000 pay-per-views, whatever the case.
Yeah.
It said Bivol did around 500. All these numbers, I don't know these numbers. They could be higher or lower. I don't know. They just put that stuff out there.
Yeah, I think this fight will do better than both of those fights, in my opinion. I do. Yeah. I think
Plant. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that. Yeah, the Plant fight was reported 800K, something like that. That's a good number for today. Very good number.
Very good considering people stream.
Yes,
illegally stream and all of that stuff. Absolutely. And then you have you got to remember. See, when you say you needed a dance partner, so think about this. People say nobody knew Wilder, right? And definitely in America, nobody really. Fury was nothing, right? Well, Wilder Fury 2 did 850,000 pay-per-views in the U.S. alone. That's just the U.S. We don't do the global things of this. We don't tell you what the numbers are in Kazakhstan and China and Tibet. We don't do that. We're America. We're kind of on our own high horse.
I agree with that.
We run things. We don't care about that. You know what I mean? But Wilder Fury 2 it grossed over $135 million for two people that nobody knows, right? So we're not going to call them the face of boxing because Wilder did that. However, we knew Wilder generate interest. A lot of people didn't think that, but obviously he did. Now, what I'm saying, the reason why I'm saying is with Tank, his interest has been consistent. Like I said, he's selling out. He even sold out when he was out here in Carson, in LA and Carson. So he's selling out every place he goes. Would you call that the face of boxing? Whereas Canelo numbers have been declining. Like Canelo, even with the zone free numbers, he's saying getting 500. Signups, 500,000 signups and things like that. So the face of boxing, someone when you say this is the general interest, the interest, this is for the person who's captured the attention of the media, of the boxing fans, of the general sports fans. This is what Tank is now doing. People are upset about it, but what are you going to do?
Well, I'll tell you this.
Vote in.
I'll tell you this. It doesn't bother me. I am all for big events in boxing because I want to see boxing do well. I want to see it succeed. I want to see it do well. Like I'm tired of hearing these guys in national media disrespect boxing, throw it in the trash and things like that. So big events like this are definitely needed in the sport. And whoever it is, I don't care who it is, they're selling tickets, they're selling good pay-per-views. That's great for business, man. And I like it. I do. I think that there's a difference between selling tickets and pay-per-view buys. We've always kind of gone off of who buys the pay-per-views as a big star in boxing. And Tank consistently has done around 200 to 250, again, depending on who he's been in there with, right? There was, again, reports that the Hector Luis Garcia fight did less than 100K. They never did release the Isaac Cruz numbers, but he did well against Santa Cruz. He did well against who else was it? Raleigh, I think. And I think that this pay-per-view is going to do very, very well. But again, I still have to give it to Canelo because I think it all depends on what he decides to do after this Ryder fight. I think if he decides to fight Benavidez in the fall on Mexican Independence Day weekend, that's a huge fight. And I think that does over 1 million pay-per-view buys. The Mexican and Mexican-American rivalry will be on full display. And I think that will trump anything that can possibly be made this year. But if he decides to fight Bivol again, I think Tank and Ryan are gonna do better than anything this year. That's just my take on it, man.
All right, my brother. I just, again, whether you guys like Tank or not, he performs every time out. He does the job. He's elite, and I've been saying that for years. You know, I'm gonna say this before I let you go. You know, because people like they have this hypothetical, these propaganda of artificial million pound for pound rankings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now they had Loma at number 7 pound for pound when he was 6-1. Who did he fight? What did he do that was worthy of a pound for pound that you could say he's the 7th best fighter in the world? And then at 9-1 they had him number 1 pound for pound. Okay, I say this to say that to say this. Now, anyway, when Inoue was 15-0, they had him number 8 pound for pound. His very next fight, he won the WBA world title, the same title that Tank has, that everybody said is a fake belt. And he went from number 8 to number 5 pound for pound. This is Inoue. Again, fighting nobody you ever heard. This was before he fought the old Donaire. You know what I mean? Who cracked his face and everything, right? So people hypothetically put these people up who they want to push based on, you know, the media does this based on numbers they think they could generate. Oh, if we put this person here, we got to put a Latino here. We got to put this Asian on this list. So we got to generate this number. We got to do this. But that's what they do, brother. Listen, they want the Rasa dollars.
I don't know, man. That's not for me to answer. You know, I don't even make pound for pound lists on this channel. Never have, never will.
I don't do it. I just destroy them. I don't make them.
Yeah, that's not.
I destroy them. I don't make them. But think about this: Charlo, undisputed, knocked out for every belt he got. He knocked out the challenger on his way to undisputed. Was not on these pound for pound lists. Devin Haney, undisputed, was not on these pound for pound lists. They just put Devin Haney on there because he's fighting Loma. And guess who's on there? Oh, the 17-2 Loma is still on the pound for pound. So I don't give none of those lists any credence. The fact that people argue them, it just cracks me up. But I'm gonna let you go, my brother. But again, you know, I love the way you conduct your show. I love the fact that you have no problem with, you know, having, you know, a cordial conversation with a dissenting, you know, perspective. You know what I mean? Because we agree on some things and some things we don't. But as long as it's all cordial, it's all good. So
real quickly before I let you go, I want to ask you, if Canelo does fight Benavidez in the fall, do you think it does better than Tank versus Ryan on pay-per-view?
I don't know what Tank number we can't say what it's going to do, but it's definitely going to do over 1 million. Come on, of course. But listen, we've been crying for Benavidez. Listen.
I've been wanting that fight for years.
Canelo. Benavidez, this is the reason why he hasn't fought Benavidez. Okay. Now, when you call yourself the face of boxing and you win the WBC, the vacant title that Benavidez lost on the scale, and you fight a sitting champion for a vacant title, you're trying to cheapen your way. I don't respect that at all. I still say Benavidez is still the number 1 guy at 168. And then you fight all these other fighters, even after you get undisputed and go fight Bivol. That makes no sense. How are you going to be undisputed and then still talk about, now I'm going to go for the rematch? So you're holding up the line. Give Benavidez his chance and let Benavidez reign, because Benavidez, again, the guy is the truth. He's the quick draw McGraw. He's the fastest hands, you know what I mean, at 168. And I'm just interested to see it.
Me too, man. But hey, thanks for the call, brother, and we'll talk again shortly, man.
All right, take it easy, brother.
All right. Let's give him a hand, guys. Checkmate Boxing. You know, we got to let him speak his piece, man. I know a lot of you guys in the chat don't agree with a lot of his takes. And you see I don't either, but hey, that's what this channel's about, man. The conversation, you know. So guys, another 10 minutes. We're gonna wrap this up. Again, phone lines are open, numbers on the screen. Give me a call. I'm gonna read some more comments that I missed. The Goat Mario P says, why not Pitbull rematch? They want money fights, right? Mexicans will come out for that. That is a big fight. I'm not gonna lie, he is very popular now. Very, very popular. If the promotion gives these celebrities free tickets, they will show up. Damn, PBC usually gives me tickets the most fights, except these type of big events such as pay-per-views. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch it, man, and check it out. I haven't had a chance to watch it. I had a bunch of people here Saturday night. I don't want to be, rewinding, going back and forth. But I'll definitely check it out again, man. Yep, they gave him the excuse. That's the problem, man. That's the problem. They're gonna have to deal with that for the until they fight again, which they probably will. Let's see. Joe Lopez 49 says Canelo is the face of boxing, not Tank. Checkmate. I know a lot of guys don't like his takes. This fight gave us some clarity at the 135 division. Tank versus Garcia could still be for third or fourth place in the division, depending on what happens with if Tank fights Haney and Shakur. Well, Haney's got to get past Loma first. Let's not rule out Loma, guys. I know a lot of people are sleeping on Loma. I still think Loma's a really good fighter, man. Still think he's a really good fighter. Let's see. Why would Canelo fight a group of PBC guys that want a payday holding up the line? That's the PBC way. Well, I mean, I'll tell you this. Yes, they have been doing that, and that's been the complaint from a lot of Canelo fans as to why don't they fight each other? I think that I think they're moving on, man. I think these guys are ready to move on. That's why you hear Samson saying things like, "Hey, we're gonna fight Morrell next if we can't get the Canelo fight, because Benavidez is the mandatory. So they're going to try to enforce that mandatory on Canelo. So there's a possibility that if Canelo doesn't fight, I mean, hypothetically, I don't say hypothetically, theoretically, he could be stripped, which I doubt, of his WBC title. And then the Morrell and Benavidez fight could be for that belt, So, we'll see, man. We will definitely see. Checkmate. Hey, man, it's all good, bro. Like I said, I let people get their stuff off, man. It's only when people get personal and be disrespectful, that's when I have an issue. And you're right, he does have a right to his opinion. Absolutely. Let's see. Let's hope Gervonta Davis fights Regis Prograis. He's a free agent. I don't see that fight happening. Another phone call, guys. Give me a second. All right, Combat Sports. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, G Funky? Nice to be on your show as always, man. I want to say something regarding this past Saturday's fight. I was regarding the main event. I was at the fight. I attended the fight with Ryan Garcia versus Luke Campbell in Dallas, Texas, at the American Airlines Center, and I got really excited after that fight. Because before that fight, I and everybody else knew that Ryan has the potential to be a crossover star and be one of the real stars in the future in the sport of boxing.
Yep.
But at the time, what we didn't know was, can he really fight at the world-class level? And after that fight, he won by a sensational knockout body shot. And I was really happy because I thought and I knew that we had a guy with crossover appeal that could actually fight and is a knockout puncher. And, now, and look, I hold guys like Rolly in high regard, Ryan in high regard. And I always thought and knew that they were on the same level. Despite the fact that a year ago everybody was talking shit about Rolly going into the Gervonta Davis fight, I always knew that he was a dangerous guy, and he proved it on that night, despite the fact that he lost by knockout. And going into this fight with Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis, I was hoping that I was wrong about that I was wrong about Ryan and Rolly being on the same level. I was hoping that, once again, because Ryan has that crossover appeal, that he is not only as good as Tank Davis, as good as guys like Rolly and stuff, but he's phenomenal. I hope, and I didn't believe that, but that's what I was hoping. And I obviously picked Tank to win by knockout. I even said it on your show, but he proved me right in that sense. That yes, he is no better than basically all the other Tank Davis opponents, such as Rolly, such as Leo Santa Cruz, such as who are some of the other guys that Tank has been facing lately. But
Mario Barrios.
Right. He's not even as good as Mario Barrios. And I agree with you when you said that. I didn't think he was as good as Mario Barrios, but I was hoping he was. But unfortunately, he proved us right. He's a good fighter, but he's not an elite fighter, and I don't think he'll ever will be. I don't see it, but he will. Hopefully, he'll give us some fun fights. I still want to see him against Rolando Romero, and everybody else. I still want to see those fights. Maybe not against guys like Devin Haney and Lomachenko because they won't be competitive, and I already know the outcomes. But against like the sub-elite level guys, I would love to see him anyway.
Yeah, no, that's good points, man. I think I'm more actually, it's funny. It's like I'm more curious about Ryan from here on out than Tank. I mean, we know that Tank, he's gonna pull the A side stuff on all these guys like Haney. When he
Right.
potentially
We already
moves
know
up.
he's going to go back to not fighting anybody. We already know that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a PBC showcase thing again. I think he's gonna fight Raleigh again. To be quite honest with you, I mean, after Albert Puello in his test that came back positive for a banned substance, Raleigh was supposed to fight him for that WBA strap, and now there's a last minute guy that came in. So I think Raleigh's probably gonna win that fight. He's gonna be a champion at 140, and I think that's the fight that they're gonna make, man. We'll see, but I would love to see him fight all these other guys in around these divisions. There was a comment earlier that said Regis Prograis. I mean, like, these are all sensational fights. Teofimo Lopez, Josh Taylor, and of course the guys that are moving up for 135 potentially. We'll see, man.
Unfortunately, Tank Davis has been doing nothing but missing on giving us the fights that we want, aside from this last one. I remember almost 10 years ago when we wanted him and Lomachenko to fight when they were both at 130.
Yes.
And that fight never happened. Why didn't it happen? The other day I looked at Lomachenko's because after the win, I'm like, you know what? Now Gervonta is starting to amass a decent record at lightweight. Now that he got rid of Ryan, or took care of Ryan rather. And, with wins over Rolando Romero and Isaac Cruz, and now Ryan, he's starting to, build up a credible resume at lightweight. And then I looked at Lomachenko's lightweight resume, and it's not even fucking close. The fact that we have to argue about Lomachenko's status in this division is pathetic. He's clearly number 2 after Devin Haney, in my opinion, right now. Lomachenko's resume cannot be compared with anybody else in the division, including Gervonta Davis's.
You can make the case, that's for sure, man. And I think that, again, there was really no excuse for Tank not to fight Loma then. I mean, look, all these other young guys are doing it. Look, Teofimo fought him when he was 23 years old and beat him. Devin Haney, I believe, is 24. He's going to take on him now. Like, Tank's approaching 30. You know, he had there was an opportunity there, and they just didn't make it happen. You know, so that's gonna be the thing with Tank, and I know a lot of his fans are gonna like it, but it is what it is. They decided to do other things with Tank, and I mean, they're making a lot of money with them. Kudos to them for that. But again, we want to see these fights happen, man, and we'll wait and see, man. But I think because this fight is gonna do so well, it's going to be even harder for us to see some of these other fights, like especially a fight with like a Haney or Shakur, because these guys they've never been on pay per view. They don't sell a lot of tickets. I mean, Shakur's been doing well in his hometown, which is great, but there's no way that they're going to send him Tank to fight in New Jersey against a Shakur Stevenson, you know?
Oh, see, remember the Kevin Farmer was another one that we when
Oh, yeah.
he was champion, and they never fought. You know, there was a lot of guys that he could have fought, and he just never ended up fighting. Even guys like Joseph Diaz. You know, there was just so many people. I don't know. Yeah, but you're right. He's just gonna. I think he's gonna rematch Isaac Cruz and maybe Rolando Romero. Both of them probably. That sounds good for
most likely.
PBC.
Yep, most likely, man. Hey, man, appreciate the call. It's always talking to you, my man.
Hey, likewise, man. Take care.
You too, man. Combat Sports Media, guys. Let's give them a hand. Good stuff there, man. Like always. All right, guys. We hit the hour mark. That means it's time to wrap this thing up, man. All right. I had 2 cups of coffee this morning, so I'm good, but I still got parental duties to do. So
come on, make that coffee to go. Let's go.
Might need another cup before the day's over. We'll see. But I appreciate all you guys for being here. I want to give a shout out to Mark Nash, Checkmate Boxing, Combat Sports Media for all calling in. Another hand for those guys calling in, and especially all you guys in the chat as well that come here to listen. And only 2 cups. Hey, man, I got myself a good coffee maker, bro, with some good beans. So yeah, that keeps me awake pretty much through every day. Some days I need a little extra. Maybe today might be one of them. But again, appreciate you guys for all being here. I'm gonna do another show later this week. Maybe we'll talk about William Cepeda, who's fighting this weekend as well. And we'll go from there. But that's it for this one, guys. Appreciate everyone for being here. I really, really do. Fun, like I said, it's always fun talking with you guys. The new face of boxing. Look, man, again, it all depends on what the current face, who is Canelo, does. We'll see, man. But I do think this fight with Ryan Garcia is going to do well, and I do think it's going to outperform the Ryder pay-per-view, man. But again, if we can get the Benavidez fight in the fall, that's going to do great numbers in pay-per-view, I believe. So appreciate all you guys. Pablo, round 1. All you guys in the chat, Checkmate, Joe Lopez, Boxing Vitals, everybody that's there, man. Appreciate it. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'm out.